Required minimum distributions trip up a lot of retirees. Small misunderstandings around the rules can lead to avoidable and sometimes costly mistakes. In my experience, those mistakes tend to fall into these four categories. First is excessive Roth conversions. Second is doing Roth conversions after RMDs have already begun. Third is combining both spouses' RMDs from one spouse's IRA. And fourth is not using qualified charitable distributions when they should. This is by far the most common mistake I see. Someone looks at a large IRA balance and assumes future RMDs are going to create a big tax problem. And sometimes the concern is about their own bracket. Often it's the widow's tax. They know that at some point one spouse will file single, and the tax brackets get cut in half, but the IRA balances don't. So the response is to start converting aggressively, often in their 60s, to shrink that future balance. And sometimes that makes sense, but here's what gets missed. A Roth conversion is permanent. You are choosing to pay taxes today based on assumptions about longevity, future tax rates, future spending, and future returns. If those assumptions don't play out the way you expect, you may have accelerated paying taxes unnecessarily. And if your tax rate today ends up being similar to your tax rate later, even after the first death, the conversion doesn't create that much value, and it simply just changes the timing of the tax. And that's the trade-off. It should be made deliberately, not out of fear of what might happen. And this is where most RMD mistakes begin, not with the rule itself, but with how people react to it. The next one is much more mechanical, but I've seen it cause some real problems. Once RMDs start at 73 or 75, depending upon your birth year, the required amount must be distributed first. You cannot convert your RMD. It has to come out, taxes must be paid on that distribution. Only after the RMD is satisfied can additional dollars be converted, and those dollars are taxable as well. This is where people get tripped up. They assume they can simply convert the RMD itself. No. And in most cases, once RMDs have begun, especially if you haven't needed your IRA for lifestyle spending, adding conversions on top of that forced income often doesn't make sense from a tax standpoint. You're layering voluntary taxable income on top of mandatory taxable income. At that point, the flexibility gets a bit reduced. The better planning window is usually before RMDs begin, when you control the income instead of the IRS controlling part of it for you. This one is more common than what you might think. RMDs are calculated individually, even if you file jointly. Even if you always thought of everything as our money. Each spouse must satisfy their own RMD from their own IRA accounts. You can aggregate multiple IRAs under one person. If one spouse has several IRAs, they can total those balances and take the entire RMD from just one of them. But you cannot combine between spouses. One spouse cannot take a larger distribution from their IRA and assume it covers both. If one spouse under-withdraws, even if the other one over-withdraws, the shortfall still exists, even though you're filing jointly. And that could lead to tax penalties. Each spouse has their separate calculation calculated for their own RMD. The fourth mistake is a bit different. It's not about overreacting. It's about missing an opportunity that's already available to you. If you're age 70 or older and you give to charity, this one matters. A Qualified Charitable Distribution, or QCD, allows you to send money directly from your IRA to a qualified public charity. And that distribution counts toward your RMD, but it is not taxed as taxable income. Many retirees take their RMD, pay taxes, have it head to their checking account, and then write the check to charity. When you do that, the full RMD shows up in your adjusted gross income. A QCD avoids that. Lower adjusted gross income can affect things like Medicare premiums and how much of your Social Security is taxed. So for 2026, you can transfer up to $111,000 per person per year through a QCD. If you're married, each spouse can use their own limit from their own IRA. The money must go directly from the IRA to the public charity. If the distribution is made payable to you, it's going to be taxable to you too. And the QCD cannot be made to donor-advised funds, private foundations, or supporting organizations. If you're already giving, this is simply a more tax-efficient way to do it. RMDs are actually a sign that you saved well. You took advantage of tax deferral for decades. Now the rules require you to start taking some of that money so the government can tax it. The goal here is to avoid unnecessary mistakes caused by the complexities inside the rules. And let's be honest, when have government rules ever been completely clear-cut? There are layers, exceptions, timing issues, and that's where people end up getting tripped up. But once you understand the common pitfalls, like excessive Roth conversions, timing mistakes, spousal aggregation errors, and missed QCD opportunities, RMDs start to feel more manageable. If you're approaching RMD age, or you're already navigating it and you'd like help thinking through your specific situation, I invite you to use the link below to schedule a conversation.